Welcome back to Let's Play Storm of Zehir. We have just become wanted for associating with the Yuan-Ti in Summergol. The the feat says, as a member of Sasani's entourage, you have become a persona non grata in Samrock. But it doesn't actually change anything. They don't actually keep you out of town. You can just sort of walk in and out. And, it's purely for your information, I guess. So we're going to head back to the lumber camp. And as we come into camp, we see cockroaches running out. Well, they were actually already out there because we ran into them on the map. But we now need to find 4 cockroach parts for this girl so that she can reassemble her cockroaches. So we fought some cockroaches, found 2, and bought one in Summergall. So we're going to look here, and look, there's a 4th one here. And hopefully that's enough. And yeah, pieces of at least 4, and here are our cockroach parts, and we get 600 XP, and we get the collapsible cockroach, which summons an extremely weak monster. And since you can only have one monster summoned at a time, it's utterly useless, but it's not worth selling, so may as well hang on to it. The other thing we have to do here in camp, we have to essentially wait until nighttime, so we're probably going to have to use the inn here and just pay for it. And again, because it's not late enough yet. And we're looking for the vandal who comes at night. And look, there's a ghost over here, so this is something. And, And, well, it's the ghost of an engineer that was killed by another engineer. And she wants to be avenged. And in order to do that, we have to go dig up her body. So we go back to that little pile of dirt that we were at earlier and dig her up. Nothing like some gnome parts. There are no recipes that involve gnome parts, sadly. Be kind of, an interesting ethical conundrum. Do you hand in the gnome parts, or do you use them for your diabolical sorcery? Well, anyway, talk to this guy. And it turns out the murderer is that guy right there, and, he denies it, but he doesn't even have a name, so what's the chance he's going to survive? Oh, look, he's dead. And so now we just walk up and tell Dal Nickelplate, the guy here, that we want to go. And he tells you have to leave all your metal behind, and you can, tell him that he's fibbing, of course. It would be kind of fun, actually. It's sort of an interesting challenge, but no, they didn't decide to implement it. So off to the Sword Coast. So it turns out that the gnomes aren't very accurate with their teleporting, and we end up in the wrong place. Big surprise there, but, whatever. There are some enemies here, sort of. They're not exactly what you call dangerous. I guess there's this necromancer here, more or less. And we got Mass Curse of Impending Blades, and also he managed to terrify a few of our party members. But let's face it, he's maybe level 5, and he's got a couple skeletons, so he's pretty much a joke. We'll clean up and then walk out on the map. It is worth noting there are 2 sarcophagi in here you can loot. Both have traps. Both of the traps are pretty minor. So here we are on the Sword Coast, and Crossroad Keep is marked. There's really not much point in doing anything else until we've gone to Crossroad Keep and picked up some things. Specifically a quest and the ability to set up trade outposts, which are how we're going to make most of our money. I guess you theoretically could get away with not doing that, but you'd have to find some way to get thousands of trade bars, and you're pretty much stuck with it. And having infinite money is helpful. So, just to our northeast is a town that we're going to have to come back to at some point. Most of the towns on the Sword Coast don't produce any special resources by default. Leyland, however, always stocks adamantine, and you need a lot of adamantine. And look at the price, it's 300 trade bars and I have 40, so we're not going to be buying any anytime soon. And we just sold off some resources. If they're blue, then they're below market average. If they're yellow, then they're above market average. I, it's not a big deal. I'm going to have a lot of trade bars soon enough, but we'll need it. So I'm going to visit the common room of the tavern here. Leyland also does not have a quest, unlike all the other towns on the Sword Coast. So here's Finch, who's another potential party member. He's got a problem that he wants to get back into the city of Neverwinter, but they won't let him back in because he's been naughty. So we'll deal with that later. So we're just going to follow the road north to Crossroad Keep, and there's not really all the monsters here are higher level. The guards are slightly higher level, but they really are not strong enough to deal with the monsters around here. So once you have trade caravans running around, you're going to have to do some essentially your own guard work because the guards will not essentially cannot make it happen. And we go off up to Crossroad Keep, and we're going to go visit our own little trading company. So here's Sasani, and Kelgar is here. He's not really Kelgar, though. They got a different voice actor, and, well, yeah. Well, anyway, Sasani invites us into our new headquarters. So here's Jacoby, who used to. This is one of the remaining characters from the original campaign. This is actually set after the original campaign, but none of your decisions in the original campaign make any difference. There's no continuity. There's no. Essentially, there's just a couple of common names, and they reused a couple of areas. It's really not very important that it's the same place. So here's our headquarters. There are a set of crafting benches scattered around. There are some beds up back here where you can rest for free. You don't have to pay for an inn anymore. Not that 50 gold was such a big imposition. There's a storage cabinet, and all of the cohorts that we hired are hanging around here somewhere. So how they got here, I don't know actually, but Volo has some more work for us, so we're going to pick that up. He wants us to research merchants. Okay, and we can tell him about some other places we've been, and we get a new feat, and that's it. So we could go over here and talk to Sasani, and she gives you a bunch of 200 trade bars and tells you to go set up some trade outposts so that we can create this cover story of being merchants. So, it gives you a tutorial, but the tutorial is pretty pointless. So I'm going to head back out, and we're going to go set up our trading post. On our way out, though, here's a merchant. Let's talk to him. We're going to look and sort of see what he has for sale first, and he doesn't really have anything new. What he will have eventually, though he does have new recipes, so I'm going to buy up a couple of those. I'm not actually going to bother enchanting everything just yet, because we're going to need the money for other things. So I'm just going to, I'll buy the recipes while I'm here, but I'm not going to actually do anything with them. As you set up trading posts, his inventory will expand, and you will get more stuff. There's not a lot of it that's super important, but heading back in. So here we are back out on the Sword Coast. Just to the southwest of, if you remember your geography, just to the southwest of Crossroad Keep is Highcliff, and you go over here and you inquire about establishing a trading post. They require 100 trade bars and some units of timber. Unfortunately, they force you to buy. You'll almost always be buying things at worst prices possible if you buy them at the town where you're setting it up. So it's actually helpful to have just carry around, see a low price, buy a couple units of it. We're going to want it for something else eventually, anyways. And we construct our trading post. Then we go trade with. Doesn't affect trade with High Cliff. You go and visit the trading post itself, and you construct a caravan leaving from this location. So these are the 4 places it could go. Crossroad Cape's the only other one we have. You can establish it, and then as you can upgrade it up to level 3 and this costs gold, and it will get essentially it's like establishing the same caravan multiple times. So our first objective really is to go around and set up all of the caravans that we can as soon as possible, more or less, so that we can get some income rolling in. We're going to need a lot of trade bars, and we can turn those trade bars into gold. So we just wander around creating our trading network. And that'll cost us a lot of money. Eventually we'll run out of money, and then I'm going to start doing other quests. But for now, just setting up trade. And we didn't get very far because we require 200 trade bars to set one up in Phandalin. So we're just going to have to head back to the keep and hope we've gotten a little bit of income of trade bars so we can keep setting up our little empire. So once you've set up a caravan, you can talk to Variel here, and if you've made any income, she'll hand it to you. And you have to talk about, you have to go through, she'll also tell you that they want to build upgrades, and you have to donate trade bars to buy upgrades. So now that we have that, we can talk to Sasani again. And she says, essentially set up a trading network. We need to talk to other traders. So I'm going to cut it off here and leave the construction of an economic empire to next time.